Sayyidina Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhuma says that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was the most generous of all people. But in the blessed month of Ramadan, the generosity of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam would increase even more. General generosity of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is described in a hadith of Sahih Muslim. Sayyidina Anas radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that a man came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and he said, "Give me goats equal to the number that would pass between these two mountains." Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave him what he asked for. And this person, he was mesmerized by the generosity of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He went back to his community, he went back to his people and he said, "Oh people, accept Islam, become Muslims. For Muhammad gives so much as if he fears no poverty." Muhammad gives so much as if he has no fear of poverty. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sayyidina Safwan bin Umayyah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he said that I had great dislike for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But every time I met him, every time I would see him, he would give me so much that I fell in love with him. Whenever I would meet Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would give me so much that he became the most beloved person to me. So this was the generosity of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Once a Muslim was questioned. Someone said that Hatim at-Tai, he was very generous, and there are many examples of his generosity. In the Arab world, he is known for his extreme generosity, he is famous for his generosity. And his stories of his extreme generosity have made him an icon in the Arab world. His son, Ibn Hatim, is a companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So someone said to a Muslim that, "You people talk about the generosity of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but do you have any examples of generosity the way people present examples of Hatim at-Tai?" He said that there's one incident when a person came to Hatim at-Tai who was in his palace and he had 12 gates. Hatim at-Tai's palace had 12 gates, and this person entered from the first gate and he asked Hatim at-Tai for help. And Hatim at-Tai gave him what he asked for. And this person then changed his attire, he changed his appearance, and he entered from another gate, pretending to be someone else. Hatim at-Tai knew who this person was. So he asked him for something else. Hatim at-Tai gave him once again. So he kept coming from different gates and he entered from 12 different gates. And every time he entered with a different outlook, with a different appearance. Hatim at-Tai knew that this is the same person, but didn't express his favor that, "I know who you are, I recognize you, but I'm still giving you." He didn't say that. He gave him whatever he asked for. So the person said to the Muslim, "Do you have any example from the seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam?" When someone asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam 12 times, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave him every time he asked him. Do you have any examples in the seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam like that? The Muslim said that, "Are you trying to make a comparison between the generosity of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Hatim at-Tai?" There is no comparison. The one who came to Hatim at-Tai the first time, he was in need of coming the second time, then the third time. Then he had to come 12 times. But the one who comes to the door of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam once, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam gives him so much that he doesn't have to come the second time. This is the generosity of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There is no comparison between the generosity of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Hatim at-Tai. So this was the general generosity of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Especially in the month of Ramadan, it would increase to that extent that when Jibreel Amin, especially at night time, when he would come and recite the Quran to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after receiving the Quran in the daytime, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would increase his charity to that extent that it is mentioned in one hadith that the showering of generosity would be faster than the sweeping wind. You know, the way a strong wind blows and it reaches everyone. In the same way, the generosity of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was like a storm. It would reach everyone. It would reach all people. Why would it increase? Why would the generosity of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam increase to such an extent after receiving the Quran? One explanation of that is that because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would receive these messages of love from Allah Jalla wa Ala, because the letters of hub would be sent to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. the letters of love were sent to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when you're in love with someone and your beloved sends a letter in the form of the Quran, then to express gratitude, you give in the path of Allah Jalla Ma'ala. So for us, this is the connection of the Quran, because through Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we receive the letters of love from Allah Jalla Ma'ala. So at night we need to increase the recitation of the Quran, and in the daytime spend a lot in the path of Allah Jalla Ma'ala. Increase our charity. That is the speciality of this blessed month of Ramadan, that it makes you generous, provided that we recite the Quran. The recitation of the Quran, receiving the letters of love from Allah Jalla Wa'ala, will open our hearts. And the more we spend in the path of Allah Jalla Wa'ala in this blessed month of Ramadan, the more Allah will increase our wealth in the coming 11 months. So that is one form of gratitude to Allah Jalla Wa'ala. Quran and charity in the blessed month of Ramadan. We need to increase in that. And another point we learned that is the message of love that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was receiving from Allah. But what about the messenger of love that we received? That is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was receiving the messages of love from Allah, and he expressed his thankfulness, his gratitude in the daytime. In the same way, the day of Mawlidun Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when we received the messenger of love in the form of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we rejoice and express gratitude by celebrating, commemorating the birth of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we give in the path of Allah Jalla Wa'ala. So this is the month of the Quran, when the Quran was revealed upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So let us spend in the path of Allah Jalla Wa'ala as much as we can.